Hello and a very good morning to you. You're watching Sewing Street and my name is Debbie Shaw. If you're new to us, maybe you've happened upon us this morning, are you looking for a new hobby? We are all about the sewing and every type of sewing here on Sewing Street, and we're the only dedicated sewing channel in the UK. So it is our passion to bring you as many products, as much inspiration, education and ideas as we possibly can. So it's lovely to have your company this morning. Now, if you want to get in touch with us, do so. There's not many of us here. Two, in effect. So we're keeping safe, we're keeping clean, we're keeping our social distance. So we are on a minimal crew. But if you want to come and say hello to us this morning, let us know what you're doing, what you'd like to do. Are you new to sewing? What's going to be your first project? Have you got any pictures to share with us? Go to our Facebook page, which is on your screen right now, and go to the visitor posts. Now you can go to messages, you can go to the Sewing Street fans, but I've got visitor posts open on my phone right now. So if you want to send a message that I can pick up straight away, then do message in. I'm looking at a lovely picture of a backpack from my backpack book, which Gabriel Tracy has popped on there. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, come and be part of the show this morning. We're live for the next 2 hours. Now, as this is the beginning of the first live show of the day, we've got a special offer for you, and this is our early bird special. An early bird is an item that we're going to reduce the price of throughout the day, maybe throughout 2 days, or until it actually sells out. And here we are looking at an Alpha double-sided cutting mat. Alpha is my cutting mat of choice. Alpha is my Rotary cutter of choice, and Alpha is my ruler of choice. So there you go. I like Alpha because I like the quality of them. So this is a self-healing mat, which means when you cut into it, which you will do when you're using your Rotary cutter, it will eventually seal itself over and mend itself, which is amazing. On the one side you have inches. On the opposite side you have centimetres. It's A3 in size, so it's a nice portable size if you ever do get to go out to classes and workshops again, or of course if you need to store this, because not everybody has the luxury of having a dedicated sewing area, so it may be something that you're just bringing out every now and again when you get time to sew. At £7.99 brings you a saving of £5 with £3.95 postage all day. And I'll just explain the way that works as well. If you want to us, you won't know. So if you order this right now, that's a new hobby, isn't it? If you're new to us right now, you can order this and you will pay £3.95 postage, which may seem a little excessive because that's half the price of the mat. But if you come back later on during the day and you think, do you know what, I want some of that Liberty fabric, I quite fancy a set of fat quarters, or those rainbow panels. I'm going to make a rainbow for my window, and either whatever you order between now and midnight tonight, you will only be charged one postage throughout the whole day. So that's why it says on your screen £3.95 postage all day. So if you come back and you think, I want to buy the 720 sewing machine, still £3.95 postage. If you want to buy a packet of pins, still £3.95 postage. And that happens every single day. That's not just because we brought you an early bird special. That's an offer that we have for you every single day. So Rotary cutter, ruler and mat. Really important if you are thinking about taking up patchwork and quilting, because you're going to be able to cut through layers and layers of fabric, maybe up to 6 or even 10 at a time, accurately. If you're cutting with scissors, I shall show you the difference. If I can find the scissors, there we go. If you're cutting something very precise with a pair of scissors, let me just move all these out of the way. So maybe it's a small piece of patchwork that you want to cut into. However you're cutting, no matter what your scissors are like, you're going to lift your fabric up off the table. That's not going to give you a 100% accurate cut. It's lifted up, as you can see there. You can't help it. These are fabulous scissors. We don't have in stock anymore, but you're lifting the fabric up. When you're using your Rotary cutter, your ruler and your mat, for a start, your ruler is going to help hold your fabric in place. You have the accuracy of being able to line up your ruler across the grids on the mat and having a perfectly straight, accurate cut, even if you're trimming down the tiniest little bits of fabric, like so. Couldn't do that with a pair of scissors. Now the thing with the mat as well, you've got lots of markings on here. So we have, this is the inches side obviously, obs. your inches across the top, and these have 1/8 of an inch increments. So if you're dressmaking and you want your 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, you can easily mark it out on here. But you also have 45-degree lines here, and we have a 1 inch and a 2 inch gap in between the two. So if you're cutting bias binding, you'll be needing to cut your fabric on a 45-degree angle. These lines will help to give you that accurate 45-degree angle. You could be cutting half square triangles or quarter square triangles. These lines will help you to cut those accurately. You've got down here as well your 45 degrees, so you know exactly what that distance is. And over on this side, it looks like a little protractor. But you've also got your 30-degree line here, which on the other side means that this is your 60-degree line. So you could be cutting 30-degree or 60-degree diamond shapes, maybe. So all of these lines are there to help you with accuracy. Now with bias binding, and again these work in conjunction, so don't just go for a mat on its own. You're going to need a ruler, you're going to need a rotary cutter as well, so have a look on the website for those. But if I'm cutting bias binding, both together, there's my 45-degree line on the mat, line that up with my ruler, perfect 45-degree angle. And then I know that when I move my ruler over to the second line here, I've got an exact 2 inch distance between the two. So there's my 2 inch wide bias fabric that I can then make my 1 inch wide bias binding with. And it's the same with the other side here. Maybe I just want to cut triangles. Obviously I'm not measuring particularly evenly, but there's my second 45-degree line. So now I've got a right angle triangle. Oh, I went back 40 years then, and the rest. Line that up against the 45-degree line, and I know that moving along I have a perfect 1 inch bias strip of fabric. So it's really easy to use, it's easy to store, it's A3 in size. It's really affordable at just £7.99. You're saving £5 off the usual price, as long as we have the stock. And it's blue. Most rotary cutting mats that you see, no matter what the brand is, they tend to be green or they tend to be grey. So it's nice to have something that's a little bit bright and uplifting in your room, isn't it? So remember, again, you've got the inches on the one side, you've got centimetres on the other, still with those diagonal 45-degree lines and your 60 and 30-degree angles here as well. Really simple to use and very affordable. We've had a message in from Shelley. Hi, Shelley. And she says, morning. Oh, she's just started, so I'm just turning you up a bit. So she's just started some EPP. Oh. Yeah, she's going to keep herself occupied in front of the TV this morning. She says, thank you for keeping things going, or the show going in these very strange times. We are, I was saying yesterday, it's like being in a film, isn't it? It's just very strange. Yeah, I think we all want to wake up. We want the end of the film to come, and we don't want a sequel. But we're going to try and keep going for as long as we possibly can. As I said at the top of the show, we are keeping very safe. We are keeping our distance. There's only 2 of us in the whole building, I think, this morning, besides the cleaner who's working relentlessly. So as long as we can keep going, and even the warehouse. Warehouse isn't actually in the building that we're in. But I was over there picking something up the other day. I wasn't allowed in. It was a sunny day, so there were people sitting having lunch outside, keeping their distance all around the car park. And as I was waiting for the product that I needed, there was somebody continually cleaning handles, cleaning windows, anywhere that anybody touched. So we are being very, very careful. So hopefully we're going to be allowed to stay here for a few weeks to come. And hopefully bring you more shows a day as well. Am I supposed to say that? No, that's probably a secret still, isn't it? Can I say that we're going for 3 hours live on Saturday? No. Okay, never said a word. Well, that's what's in my schedule. Hopefully, if I say hopefully, then I can get away with that, can't I? Anyway, let's change the subject. Oh, Shelley, there's a picture of your EPP. That is beautiful. I love English paper piecing. I find it so relaxing. I find it so rewarding when you have those tiny, tiny little stitches and you turn your work over and you can't see them. It's, And hexagons are my favourite. They're the traditional ones, aren't they? The original English paper piecing shape. English paper piecing originated in America and was called English paper piecing because the Americans at the time deemed the English people to be rather upmarket. So it was a marketing tool to call it English. There you go. They probably still think we're upmarket. They think I'm Australian when I go over there. You're from Australia? No. No. Do you know the Queen? No. Anyway, we've got some new things for you in the show. From the fabric designer. She's called Debbie Shaw. I've got two panels for you. Now, the very first day that we launched here, which was, what, 5 or 6 weeks ago now, I brought you my brand new sewing machine and bobbins panels. And they're sold out within about half an hour of the first show. So I've brought them back to you. But in the spring colour, these are a slightly more pastel tone than the previous ones. But you've got the same images, the same shapes, the same size as we brought you before. So if you missed out last time, oh, when are they going to come back again? Here they are. Now these are just panels. They don't come with instructions or a project sheet or anything like that, because I'm thinking all you've got is a load of pictures of sewing machines and bobbins, and then large pieces of fabric with bobbins on this particular. This is bobbins as well. So you can make what you like with them. But I have got lots of inspiration around the studio for you, because my design team are a very talented team of ladies who work with me, have made book covers, wall hangings, storage, little girls' dresses, cushion covers. I like sewing machine cover, dust cover, but I like the idea of coordinating your sewing room with sewing themed things. And these are actual bobbins from my collection, and they are, here's some of them. I just like them. So they look. Now, we've had to change the names on them because obviously there's somebody owns these. So they've all been changed to have my name on them, which is very indulgent, but hey-ho. So these are some of the actual bobbins that you'll see on here. And these are my actual sewing machines. I haven't brought the big ones in because they weigh an absolute ton. But I have brought some of the little ones in to show this on the sewing machine panel. So this is kind of a dusky pale pink in the background colour. And let me give you the size of that. I think it's 155 centimetres wide, and it's just over 1/2 metre in the length. So you could use these. I've got an apron behind me. Again, this is the darker colourway, but you could use them as pockets. Obviously, this is the sewing machine one. You could make little drawstring bags out of them to keep your bits and bobs in. You could make cushion covers in any shape or size that you like. So again, this is the bobbins one with all of the bobbins on the back there. You could make a little girl's dress. Isn't that pretty? I made that one. Wouldn't have thought of doing that, but I think that's really quite sweet. That would really suit my 2.5-year-old granddaughter who's just learning how to sew. Actually, she's learning to sew on one of these, which are, if I change this over to the sewing machine panel, I can show you where this is on the machine, on the panel. So this is the sewing machine one, and it's the wrong way around. I could see it very, very clear. So that is that actual sewing machine, obviously without the little extension table on it. Cute, isn't it? It's a different shape, that one. No, hang on a minute. We changed the colour of it. It's this one. It's that sewing machine, which is actually blue, but we've changed the colours to pink. That's better, isn't it? And this is the little sewing machine that my granddaughter's using. It's only got a thread in the top, but it does actually work. It does a chain stitch. It's really clever, it's really sweet, and it's lovely to see her on it. And these sewing machines, the big one is a Fister & Rossmann that my husband bought me as a gift a few months ago. And this one is actually that machine. I've not threaded this one up. I'm assuming it works in the same way because these are children's machines. So I'm assuming it actually works, but I must give that one a go. Yeah, that's that funny little shaped one there. Sweet, aren't they? So that's the inspiration. and this is the actual panel. So what do you think? What are you going to make? I think a sewing machine dust cover is an ideal first project, or a mat to put your sewing machine on. So if you're new to sewing, that's absolutely perfect. I haven't arranged these so that we've got one in the centre and all of the other little ones around the edge, like I did with the woodland panels that I brought you, because I'm not imagining that you're going to actually use this as a quilt. You could if you wanted to, but I'm more imagining that you're going to cut out all of those images and use them as a plique. And you could be using those maybe as pockets on an existing apron that you already have. You could use this side maybe to cover the seat on your sewing chair, or make yourself a half apron out of those. It could be anything from little pin cushions to, oh Shelley, with your EPP. Imagine an English paper piecing with a little sewing machine in the centre of each one. You could use maybe a 2-inch hexagon with each one of those, and then of course you've got the different colourway down at the bottom there as well. So there's lots you can do with them. They are all, the photographs have been taken by my husband. They've been digitised by a gentleman called Tom, all in the UK. They've been printed in the UK, so everything's British based, and these are 100% cotton as well. They wash really well. I have washed just to try them out, as you do, and they get softer and softer the more you wash them. So they are great for quilting. It's quite a loose weave of thread, so if you're doing any hand sewing, maybe you're using this as bias binding, and you machine sew the first side and hand sew the second side. It's really easy to hand sew. Now, oh, this is your favourite one out of the two so far. Do let me know what you're going to make with it. And if you bought one of the panels that we had from that we brought you before, it'd be lovely to see what you've already made from those as well. Or is this going to be a gift for somebody that you know who sews? Because we're always difficult to buy for, aren't we? As sewers, we know what fabric we like. We've already got our sewing machines. We've got our favourite threads, and we've probably got lots of those. But a panel like this, you can either make something from it, maybe a pincushion, or 2 or 10, or probably about 20 from this. Or you could give the panel as a gift to somebody who sews, and I'm sure they can really use their imagination and see what they can actually come up with. So is it going to be the cushion for the back of your chair where you sit and sew? Or is it going to be maybe storage? Oh, Melissa made this one. This is a wall hanging, which is storage. So it's got the pockets made out of the, let me take that off there. Still can't see everything, can you? They've got loops on the top here, so you can hang things like your rotary cutter in there, maybe like so, or maybe in a smaller one. Again, one of them. Well, go in the pocket anyway. You could be keeping things like pins, patterns in the larger one maybe. It doesn't have to be for sewing accoutrements. This could be for any room in your house, but I do think it's lovely to have things like this that are sewing related in your home. There's even covered buttons, fussy cutting around some of the top of the bobbins on the top there. That would be a nice idea, wouldn't it? To actually cover buttons in bobbins. Even if you use those, I mean, they'd be quite big, but you could use those decoratively on a jumper or a cardigan. I think that would work really well. Sewing machine dust cover. Girls, if you're watching, my girls, I'm sorry I'm not name checking everybody that's made everything, but I didn't make a note. It's at home, so I should put something on my Facebook page just to thank you all for making these samples up. So this is a dust cover that has pockets on the front again. So you could do this with either the bobbins fabric or the sewing machine fabric, just to show you how versatile it is. Remember, this is the winter collection, so you're looking at the springtime colours at the moment. So we've got brand new colours for you today. So I'm just giving you some ideas of the kind of thing that you can actually make when you get the panels home. I love a panel. They're just they're so easy. It's like if you go into a shop and you try and put different fabrics and prints together, it can be quite difficult. That's why I like bundles. I like fat quarter bundles and half-yard bundles and things like that, because the thought's already been taken out of it. You know that everything's going to match. So, for instance, with the sewing machine, all of the colours have already been matched for you. And it's just like having a whole pile of fabric. So you've got 2 long strips here that you can just use, well, for whatever you like. This could be cushion covers, it could be borders, it could be sashing maybe if you're quilting, and then all of these individual pieces that you can use. I'm thinking of plique and pockets maybe. pockets on aprons. If you have, maybe you've got some cushion covers that you want to brighten up, you could applique this onto the front of things that you've already bought. So you don't have to be an expert sewer and create something from scratch. You could quite easily just add these to existing things in your room. Oh, now some of you are multi-buying as well. Is that going to be one for yourself and one for a mate? So, or you could go for one of each. So that again is your sewing machine. This one's your bobbin. Because we've kept the colours kind of the same. So the pink's the same pink. And the teal is the same teal. So they do match. And of course, if you do buy one of each, you've only got one P&P of £3.95 to pay. So the more you spend, the more you save in effect. So lovely little pink background on that one as well, which you can cut out as a border around each one of those images over this side individually. Or you could cut those off completely and use those as a border or sashing in between the pieces if you're going to use these as blocks, if you're going to quilt with them. So those are the two panels, £19.99 each. Oh, we've got another message. I love it when you message in. It's so nice to hear from you all. Andrea, hi Andrea. She says, morning Debbie, I've made a table runner for Easter. Thank you. A table runner? She says, thank you for keeping us inspired in these strange times. That is beautiful. Have a look on the Facebook page. This is a table runner that's got rabbits all over it. That's really clever. It's really pretty. Thank you for that. Oh gosh, right. We have less than 50 of these remaining now of the sewing machine panel. Those are going really, really quickly. So not to pressure you, but if you're ordering on the website, please can you check out of your baskets if you're going to order this one. We are now down to less than 40 of these remaining now. Oh gosh, these are going quickly. Okay, multi-order if you want to. You can order as many as you like. Remember, you've got one P&P all day if you wanted to go for one of each. We are now down to less than 30. That's how quickly they're going. Okay, if you want to order, YPW73 is your item number, just £19.99. You can see the size on your screen. We're 140 wide by 62 deep, so it's over half a metre in depth. And oh, I mean, these are exclusive to Sewing Street, and these are pretty unique. Nobody else has got my sewing machines. Nobody else has got pictures of my sewing machines. Nobody else is going to be able to reproduce anything like this because they're very personal to me. They're my actual sewing machines. So you're buying something that you can't buy anywhere else. I haven't got these on my website. They're absolutely 100% exclusive to Sewing Street. Now, when they have gone, I'm not sure if we're going to bring you any more of these. So again, I'd urge you. So if you want them to order sooner rather than later, you can order on the phone number 0800 001 4433. We've got a UK-based call centre. Or you could order online, which is sewingstreet.com. Should we do a bit of sewing? Yeah, okay. I was going to make a book cover. So I should show you the book cover that, maybe it was Jackie made this one. Let me move my machines out of the way. Pop you over there. I do have quite a collection of sewing machines now. I need an extension just for the machines. So mine's not going to be exactly the same as this, but I'll give you an idea of how to make a book cover really easily. So this may be a diary, a photo album maybe, or a journal somewhere if you're quilting maybe and you want to keep all of your measurements and sizes in there. We've got a little pocket on the inside that you can keep pens in. On the outside there's another little pocket here. You could put another one on the back if you wanted to. So let's give you an idea of how to make this. So I've got my journal. This can be any size you like. Just put that down there. And let's use the bobbins. Out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to use the top fabric as the, over there. So big, they're dropping off the table. So to measure, and again, this is purely Well, any size that you like. So I'm not giving you exact measurements of anything that I'm making. You can make these in any size you wish. So you put your journal over the top and open it up. And we need to cut a piece of fabric that is slightly larger all the way around, larger still in this direction. So I'm going to cut 1/2 inch bigger at the top, 1/2 inch bigger at the bottom, and then 1 inch larger at either side. And the reason it's wider at the side is because when you fold the book over, it's going to stretch the fabric around the book, so you need an extra bit of room around the spine. So actually, this pretty much takes up the whole length, the whole width of that panel, which is fantastic. Right, so I'm going to cut along the edge of that one there. Always cut away from you. So I'm not going to cut into the pink bit because I'm going to use that for a different project. I don't want a little nick in there. Go across here. Do you know, having your name on a bobbin for somebody who sews, it's like, oh, I've arrived now. This is it, this is my moment. I'm trying to leave all the rest of this intact because I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of that fabric. So let's chop the end of this off. So we're working with a smaller piece. And then, so that's, that was messy. So that's going to be the outside. Let me just measure this again. So about there, I reckon. It's about 1/2 inch top and 1/2 inch bottom. Because this is just going to fold very slightly around the edge there. In fact, we'll have another panel on the inside. So let's go back to the bobbin fabric. And we'll do the inside in the pink. So another piece cut to exactly the same size. And then I think we'll have a different colour when it goes around the inside. We'll do a bit of a contrast with that one, I think. So let's chop the end of this off. I'm using the Early Bird as well, which is your Alpha cutting mat. Now I always say go for the biggest cutting mat you possibly can. But if you don't have that much space, you can actually cut quite sizable pieces on here. And of course, you can fold things in half. So, across the end here. And this one. So let's again we'll do a fitting on my book. So that's going to wrap around like so. I'm going to put some ribbons on the end to tie it as well. So I could actually use that white that's left over. Because we don't waste anything, do we? So I'll cut the bits that go on the inside. So this is going to be the return, if you like, that goes inside the book pages, cover. So I'm going to use both of these again. So I've got a nice contrast. In fact, I don't need to do that. I'll just use the bobbin ones. No, I won't. I'll use the pink ones. You've got so much fabric here. You can change your mind and use what you like. So let's chop off the white bit again. So I need to be the same length. Now again, we've got less than 30 of both of the panels remaining now. So if you want to go and order, you can always come back later, and these programmes will be on YouTube later on, so you can always watch later on. I hate you to miss out, because I do get some stick when I don't bring you enough stock. So this is going to be the bit that goes on the inside, so we'll need 2 pieces measuring 2 inches each. So 1. This will make sense in just a second. There are many ways to make a book cover. I just wanted to do something that's quite quick and easy for you. These are actually 2.5 inches because I've got an extra 1/2 inch on my end of the ruler. Okay. So as Jenny messaged, Oops. Oh, and she sent a picture as well. Oh, hi Jen. She says, morning Debbie, hope you're all okay. Been doing lots of sewing during this time, including my Sadie bag. And am I right, Jenny, in having read on the Sewing Street fans page that you're doing a bit of a giveaway? Or have I just offered to give your bag away for you? That's lovely, thank you. Lisa, hi Lisa. She says, loving the fabulous fabric. Thank you for keeping going, we really appreciate it. Thanks Lisa, you're keeping me going, to be honest. I don't know what I'd be doing with myself if I wasn't here. Julie says, hi Debbie. Lovely to see you. You inspire me to sew. Thank you, that's the biggest compliment you could pay me. Right, I think we've got enough of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, and I'm just in the cellar again, just see if I've got some pre-cut ribbon, which I don't. So we'll make some. And what shall we use for that? I'm just going to use some of the spare white fabric off the top of the panel. I'm not making this up as I go along, I'm very well prepared. Okay, so let's chop that off there. Maybe have that a little bit longer. And I'm just going to fold that over and I'm not going to make a tube. I'm just going to fold it into 4 and make a little piece of ribbon to tie with that. And we'll have a pocket on the front as well. So let's use a sewing machine. These are my favourite sewing machines. Out of all the sewing machines that I've got, I only have one machine that I use, like my proper workhorse sewing machine. But I do have a collection of around about 20 vintage sewing machines. Most of them don't work, I just love them. But the ones that I love most of all are the really ugly ones. Or the ones, I mean, I've got quite a few of the old Singers and Jones, the black ones with all of the beautiful gold work on them. But I've got some green ones and blue ones and grey ones. I've got a dark red machine and a few really dirty creamy coloured ones. But they're the ones that you don't see very often because nobody wants them because they're ugly. I'll have them. I'll have the ugly sewing machines. Makes them a little bit more special though, I think. Okay, so let me explain what I'm doing because we're running out of time here. So I will do a bit of sewing in a second because I've got a fabulous sewing machine for you. So my bobbins are on the outside. So if I fold this in half, I can see exactly where they're going to go. So I'll have those the right way around. My pocket is going to go on the front, so I'm going to fold the top of this over twice and hem it. And then fold the sides in just once and top stitch around here to hold the pocket on. I'm not lining the pocket. I don't really think it's necessary on something like this. So that's going to go on the front there, so that would be the next stage. I'm going to iron some Valaiseline H640 onto the wrong side of this fabric so it's slightly padded. Then my ribbon, imagine that's sewn on. My ribbon here, let me cut this in half. Is going to be sewn facing inwards. I'm going to make this into like a piece of bias binding. So both long edges folded to the middle and then sew down there. That's going to be sewn to the middle here and to the middle there. And then I'm going to add the bit that folds around. So that will go right sides over here and that will go right sides over there. So my ribbon is going to be in between the outside and the bit that folds around. On the opposite piece here, I'm just going to sew right sides together, and then we'll open the whole thing up and sew both pieces together. Like so. And then these two pieces are going, no we're not. with those facing inwards. And then we're going to sew all the way around the edge, leaving a gap, turn the whole thing through, and you will end up with, if that's the outside, that, ribbon here, book in there, that folds over, and the cover of the book goes inside that bit, so it'll be like that. Sorry to rush through that little bit, but that would probably take me for the rest of the hour, and I really want to show you the sewing machine that we've got. So I'll tell you what, if I don't get to finish that now, I will take it home, finish it this afternoon, stick it on my YouTube channel. How's that? Yeah? Okay, but hopefully we'll be back. We'll see how much time we've got, because we have a jam-packed full show. What I wanted to show you as well, while I'm here really quickly, is the fabric that we have, a couple of pieces of the fabric that we've got in the next hour. There we go, it's on the floor. Just to give you a tease of what's coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. Move that to one side. We've got the Liberty Winterbourne fabrics. So I've just picked out my two favourite pieces. These are from the Teal collection, just to give you a little teaser of what's coming up. And if you have a look on our website now, onesewingstreet.com, you can actually order these ahead of time. You don't have to wait until we show you live and give you all of the details. If you have a look online, you'll be able to see these right now. So these are Liberty. They're such wonderful quality. They have a gorgeous handle to them. They're perfect for quilting, but they're perfect for dressmaking as well. And they're just absolutely beautiful. We've got an amazing offer for you on a complete bundle of the whole collection of the teal and the whole collection of the pink. And you can order these by the metre as well. So if you wanted to do some home decor with these, then you can do. Okay, so that's a little bit of a teaser for you. Oh, we've also have for you, let me just fold those back up for later. We've got a rainbow panel for you. I know how many of you are making rainbows at the moment, and isn't it wonderful? If you do get a chance to go out, or if you have a look on the news or on social media, just bear with. There's rainbows everywhere. There's crocheted rainbows and painted rainbows and knitted rainbows and sewn rainbows. So we've got a rainbow panel for you that if you have the panel, if you've made rainbows with it, we'd love to see your pictures. There you go, and far more colours than you need for a rainbow. But rainbows are really popular, not just representing, the situation that we're in at the moment. Rainbows have really had a surge over the last 12 months or so. There's so many rainbow products, rainbow quilts, rainbow dresses, rainbow aprons, just rainbows seem to be everywhere. But they're fun and they're uplifting and they're happy colours. And this is only £14.99 and it's massive. It's a metre of fabric and it's 140 wide. Do you know, if you're not a sewer and you just want rainbows, get two of those and make a pair of curtains. You don't even have to cut into them. Just hang them up against your window. 100% cotton as well. But you know, they are rainbow colours, and you've got the whole kind of vinetta of different shades. But if you're looking for a specific colour for bias or for binding, not bias binding, obviously, or you're using these for any of the jelly roll projects that you might have in a jelly rolls quilt book, then you've just got 2.5-inch strips. There's 16 of them, I think, in total, and they would make up more actually than you would have in a traditional jelly roll or fabric strip roll, because they're longer. Fabric strips are normally 44 inches wide. These are longer. I think they're 54. So I'm just looking for a measurement, but it's not on there, because I'm not in centimetres, I'm in inches still. Yeah, but we'd love to see your pictures. We'd love to see your pictures of your knitted rainbows and your painted rainbows and the rainbows that your kids have made, and rainbow mobiles and rainbows that you've sewn. I know there's been quite a few on the Sewing Street fan club page. I've been looking at those. Oh, while you're there, by the way, don't send me a message there, because I'm not there. I'm here. On the Sewing Street fans page, we're doing a make of the week little thing every week. So I've actually chosen mine for next week, for this week. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Is that tomorrow we're going to do that? I can't remember. But is it Friday? Myself and John and Vicky are all choosing our favourite makes of yours. And whoever wins is going to win a little something. I don't know what as yet. Oh. So there you go. So that's the Sewing Street Fans Facebook group. So you'll have to join the group, but I'm sure they won't say no. And just post your make on there. And you never know. We may pick yours and you may win a little something from Sewing Street. How's that? Should we have a look at this machine? It's like the big reveal, isn't it? You ready? Ta-da! This is the Elna 720. There has been a whole dedicated hour on this, which you'll find on YouTube. I can't remember what day it was. Maybe it was last Saturday. Can't remember. But it is the most fabulous sewing machine. It's quick, it's incredibly quick. It's very sturdy, it's cast, so it's very heavy, so it's going to cope with really heavy weights of fabric as well. It has a wide throat, so if you're quilting, this is perfect for you if you're rolling your quilts while you're stippling in there. And it's just got a whole host of stitches and stitches that can create different effects as well. We'll have a look at some of those in just a second. I've had this at home. Well, I brought it back this morning. I've got into a habit of taking the machine home with me. It's actually I have the predecessor to this. Elna, Janome, same company. I have a Janome 660, which isn't actually made anymore. 6600, which is the predecessor to this machine. So this is everything that I love about my sewing machine at home, and then some. This has more. So let me give you a quick tour of it, and then we'll show you some sewing. So again, it's cast. This is solid. It's a heavy machine. I don't like to lift mine too much because it is really heavy. This is plastic on the top, that's plastic, but this is absolutely solid, which is what I wanted from a sewing machine, because it means it doesn't shake all over the place. And I know it's a machine that I can rely on. I've really punished this poor little machine, and it answers back every single time. I never get the better of it. It's a simple machine to use. We have all of the stitches on board here. So there are different modes. I'll take you through those in just a second. But basically you have utility stitches at the top. That's mode 1. So those are going to be the stitches that you use most of all. And then as you come down here, these are decorative stitches, over edge stitches, blind hem stitches, buttonhole stitches, picot edging, mending stitches, button sewing on stitches, stitches to smock with. I thought we might have a go at that later on if we have time. Different needle positions. There's an extra long tacking stitch on this one. These are all decorative stitches. We've got satin stitches which you can elongate up to 5 times. These are all decorative stitches. There is a very special straight stitch professional grade needle plate, and I'll tell you what, when this plate goes on, oh, you sew so quickly. And then on this side you have the alphabet in 2 fonts. We've got numbers here as well, so uppercase and lowercase, and then you've got all of your punctuation marks and things like that as well. And this simply sits in the back of the machine while you're using it, so it's handy to see where everything is. So that goes in there. Oh, it drops down for when you're packing it away. And then you've got a front section here so that you can see everything that's going on. So to choose the stitches, it's pressing buttons. If you can use a mobile phone, you can use the sewing machine. It's as easy as that. So you choose the stitch number that you want and you program it in here. The M button is a memory, so you can join letters together, you can monogram, and you can store up to 20 letters at a time just by pressing that M. The C is for cancel, so if you make a spelling mistake, you can get rid of the icon by pressing C. As you come up, you can lock the machine. So if you've got kids at home and you don't want them, or like in my home, it'll be the dog sitting on the foot pedal. If you press lock, then it won't sew. I can adjust the stitch length and the stitch width. I can, in fact, if we're going to set, there are lots of different settings in here that you can use. So I can adjust the light. So let me see if I can do that. Oh no, it's this one, isn't it? Oh, where have we gone? Light. You can adjust the light like that. So that's brighter. Let's take it down a little bit darker. How's that? So does that make it clearer to see for you? And then we can move on to, let me go back again, back into set. Oh no, we're okay. Press M. There we go. and then down to the sound. So if I want to turn, oh for goodness sake, turn the volume up and down a bit, then I can do. I can choose whether I want to automatically snip my threads or not snip my threads. I can choose whether I want to start or stop with the needle in the up-down position. I can also choose, if I go right down, if I want, oh, this is the speed of the foot control. So, you know, when you put your foot on the foot pedal, do you want it to kind of start sewing straight away at full speed, or would you rather it start to sew slowly? You can adjust that. You can adjust the length and the width of your favourite stitch. So automatically, if I switch the machine off and on again really quickly, this will default back to a straight stitch. So off we go, on we go. And my stitch length is automatically set to 2.4. If I find that I use a 2.2 stitch length more often, or a 2.6 stitch more often, I can change the default setting on that. I can change the default position of the needle by adjusting the width on there as well. So you really can make this personal to you and the way that you sew. You've got an automatic bobbin winder on the top, which has a separate motor to the needle. So that's something that was developed in wartime to make more use of people's time. By the time the machinists were winding the bobbin, they were probably wasting a whole minute that they could have been sewing. So you can sew at the same time as you're winding up your bobbin. So if you have got a lot of sewing to do, and it's a bit like fuel in your car, this one, isn't it? It's a little bit of a pain. So although it doesn't take very long, you can do that at the same time as you're sewing. The icons at the front here, this is your bobbin winding up button. This is the stitch that I was saying that actually elongates the satin stitches, but it just doesn't stretch them, it actually fills the gap in as well. So for instance, this is a scallop stitch as it stitches out. If I elongate it by 1, it fills in the gap. So that's twice the size of one of those scallops, but all of the zigzag stitches are filled in. It doesn't just stretch it all out. So this can be elongated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times and still fills in the gap. You have a mirror image button. So if you're choosing a decorative stitch, you can flip it around. The twin needle icon, when you press this, there is an image of a twin needle that comes up on here as well. This will stop you using stitches that aren't appropriate. So if I try now and choose a buttonhole stitch, which will be, let's say, in mode 2. So just changing that, it says mode 2 up there, and my buttonhole stitch is number 23. It's beeping at me. It's not actually allowing me to make a buttonhole because it's not an appropriate stitch for a twin needle. But that's the machine actually protecting itself, because if you were to use a twin needle with a lot of the decorative stitches and with the buttonhole stitch, it'd swing too far from one side to another and it would break. So the machine's not going to let you do that. So let's cancel that one. Now the top of the machine, the threading system is very much like any domestic sewing machine, and you've got your guide on here as well. There are 2 spools at the back here, so you can do twin needle sewing, or you can use one of these for your thread and one to wind up your bobbin. And there is an extra high threading guide, which means that you can use cones, and you get the little bits to go in the centre of the cones to help your thread go through. So if you are doing lots and lots of sewing and you use the big cones, then the machine's been made for you to do this. Back to the front, we've got your thread snippers. This is your needle up down position. This is a lock stitch, which will do 3 or 4 stitches on top of each other, so you're not distorting decorative stitches by reversing to secure them. That's your reverse button. You've got a start stop button, so you don't need to use the foot pedal, and the speed control here. The tension is right on the front of the machine, and this helps cut down on lint. Now your tension discs are literally like 2 pie dishes on the inside. You can actually see them on this machine. And that, if anywhere, is what is going to cause lint build-up, because that's where the thread kind of goes through the tightest part of the machine. So that means it's easier to clean or keep itself clean. You have a press-a-foot pressure dial. So if I just turn the knob on the top, you can see that red guide going up and down. So if I'm sewing through thick fabric, I may want less pressure on the press-a-foot. If I'm sewing fine fabric, I may want heavier pressure on the press-a-foot. And that really does make a difference to the quality of your stitches. This is the regular stitch plate and a standard foot. We've got a whole box full of feet that comes with this machine, and we have another plate as well. So let me show you my box of goodies. Oh yeah. I get so excited about things like this, like opening a box of chocolates. So there are lots of feet in here: rolled hem foot, open toed foot, over edge foot, blind hem foot, button sewing on foot. You've got a seam lifter, you've got an adjustable free motion foot with a closed toe and an open toe, and one for thicker fabrics and a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you've got a walking foot, and you have an extra fast foot. And under here, because there is more, you've got a spare plate there. HP high performance plate. This is for straight stitching only, because it's only got one little hole. But by using the plate and using the foot, and I think I'll show you that first of all, you're going to be able to sew it up to 1250 stitches a minute. An overlocker on average will be 1100 stitches a minute, and if you've ever seen one in use, you'll know how quick that is. So you've got a machine, a sewing machine, that is on par with the speed that you will have from an overlocker, which is amazing. So if you are doing lots of straight stitching, you're going to love this. Now, to take the plate off, you press the lever at the side and it flicks up. It's as easy as that. So this is your HP foot. I don't know if you can see on the screen at the moment, it's telling me that the foot plate's been lifted off. So it won't let me sew. I can't do it when I can't sew, but if you forget, it's like, hang on a minute, you haven't got your foot plate on there. I'm not working. I've had enough. So if you look at the screen and I pop on the new plate, please make sure the proper presser foot is attached. It's telling me I don't want a twin needle. I've still got the twin needle, but no, we can't sew with a twin needle, so it's not going to let me do that. And it's asking me to put on the HP foot, which is this foot. So let's just drop off the foot that's on there. We'll need to take off the ankle for this one, which I know I've put on really tightly. But don't worry, I have a screwdriver. I had this problem last time, didn't I? I've got a screwdriver. So I'm going to undo the ankle here. Take that off. Don't lose this, because most of your feet won't work without it. And pop this one on. Now, only use a straight stitch with this machine. In fact, it won't let you choose any other stitch. You can use the long stitch, a triple straight stitch. You can use some of the heirloom stitches with this, but it has to be a straight stitch. And let me find some fabric. I'm going to change the colour of my thread so that you can see it into red. So just take out the last one. This is really quick as well. You've got an amazing needle threader on this one. I know I said never buy a sewing machine without a needle threader, but there are needle threaders and needle threaders. So your bobbin will drop in the bottom, just like on most sewing machines, in the shape of the letter E with the thread coming off the bottom. To engage into the tension at the bottom, you're going to put your finger on the bobbin, pull the thread towards you, and it automatically goes into the guidelines. It comes around the side, all the way down here, and there's a blade inside that just snips off your thread. And then you can put your lid back on. On the top, we're going to go around there, around that one, around there, around that one, down there, through the tensions, back up again, through the take-up lever. Are you in there? Ooh, get back up. Down we go. Now this is important as well on any sewing machine. All of the thread guides around here affect the tension on your machine. So I've got one here, I've got one right on the top of the needle clamp here, and I'll need to pull the thread to one side, and you can actually kind of feel it click in place. This is the needle threader. So you're going to take your thread through the centre of those two kind of little teeth and pull it until it's secure. In you go. Not quite in there yet. That's it. Until it holds it. And then I can snip off the excess thread at the side. And then when I depress the needle threader on the side, I've got a very tiny hook that takes the thread through the eye of the needle and pulls it, come on up, pulls it out the other side. So I get a loop here. And when I pull the loop through, my needle is threaded. So I'll take that through the centre of the foot. So are you ready? Scream if you want to go faster. So we've got the straight stitch on 2.4. We're on full speed. Are we ready? That's because I pressed the lock stitch by accident. Look at that go! I'm going to do it again. It's got the most unbelievable speed. Are we ready? That honestly is the fastest domestic sewing machine I have ever used. Not everybody wants to sew at speed, I appreciate that. You can slow it down, so if you want to use the straight stitch foot, which has more benefits than just sewing really quickly, you can slow down with the speed control here. So my foot's down to the floor. I can still control the speed from the front here. Now, benefits of having this foot and plate. You can only sew a straight stitch, so there's only one hole in the plate and there's a very narrow hole in the top of the foot here. Now, the benefit of that is that it's going to help to keep your fabric flat as you're sewing. So your stitches are going to look better, your fabric's not going to pucker. You know, sometimes when you start sewing right at the edge of a piece of fabric, the fabric can disappear into the feed teeth. It doesn't happen when you've got the right plate, the straight stitch plate. So the machines recognise that it's on there, it's all geared up to be sewing at speed, if sewing at speed is what you want to do. But more importantly than sewing at speed, it's going to improve the look of your stitches as you're sewing a straight stitch as well. Love that. Now, when I've brought you these shows before, I've been showing you some different tricks that the machine can use. I wanted to show you how it works with stretch fabric. I get lots of questions about stretch fabric. My question is, what have I done with it? Here we go. Stretch fabric is really, really popular. It's easy to work with. You might not think it is, but it's very simple to work with. And you can make some very simple garments out of it, because a stretch fabric isn't going to need a zip, it's not going to need buttons, it's not going to need closures, it's not going to need fastenings. A lot of the time it doesn't even need darts, so you can make some very, very simple pieces from it. The machine does come with a twin needle, and I can show you that in just a second if you'd like me to, and explain why a twin needle is beneficial when you're sewing with stretch fabric. But if you don't want to, if you just want to use a straight stitch, let me show you why a special straight stitch is important when you're sewing stretch fabric. So let's increase the length here a little bit so you can see the stitch. This is a regular straight stitch. So if that's your seam, that's fine, isn't it? That's sewn very well. It's a lovely stitch on the back and it's a lovely stitch on the front, but it's not a stretch stitch. So if I bend over, you might see my underwear. So although it looks very nice, that's not a practical stitch. Even for a machine of this calibre, for stretch stitch on a stretch fabric on a straight stitch, don't we have a lot of S's in the English language? It's really not going to work. So you need to use a triple stitch. You can use a zigzag stitch, a very fine zigzag stitch, or a lightning stitch, which is like this, but not with this foot on the machine. But I can use a triple straight stitch, which is number 4 on this machine. It looks like 3 dashed lines next to each other, but it actually stitches a back stitch. So it's a nice stitch to use. I lengthen that one as well. It's a nice stitch to use if you want a solid line, if you're hemming jeans and things like that. But on a stretch fabric, it may take longer to sew because it's sewing 3 times the amount when you consider it's going backwards and forwards, but it's worth it. Because that's what my stitch is going to look like. So I've got that nice solid line, but now when I stretch it, it actually stretches with you. So no embarrassing moments if you're sewing. Do you know one of the funniest things, I think I've told you before, I bought some dissolvable thread, which you can use for trapunto, where you use dissolvable thread to sew an outline and then quilt up to it, so that when you wash the fabric, the thread washes away and it just looks like the quilting that's holding it in place. The instructions on said dissolvable thread said, do not use on swimwear. I just had visions. Whoops. So I'm putting the standard plate back on again, and we'll have the standard foot back on again, and I'll show you the benefits of twin needle sewing. Oh, while you're there, inside here is where you're going to clean if you need to. Always switch your machine off. So just tilt that forward a little bit. You can actually see inside there. So switch your machine off. So I'm not going to delve into here at the moment because it's switched on. But you will remove the bobbin, remove the hook, which is this little bit here, and give it a good old dusting with a brush. Never blow in here because you're going to introduce moisture inside the machine, and we don't want that. This is all cast, it's all metal, remember. And we don't want to blow the dust inside the machine. Anyhow, we want to get it out. So if you just take a very fine brush, I don't tend to use the brushes that come with the sewing machines. I like to use a very fine paintbrush because you can get further in. Twist it around. Any lint that you've got in there will come out like candy floss. Make sure you don't have any lint or dust in between the feed dogs as well, because that can inhibit them pulling the fabric through, and that can affect the look of your stitches. So I would do that after every big sewing job. So if I'm making a dress, I'll clean this. If I'm using anything with wadding, because that does build up inside your machine, I'd clean it then. And if I'm using anything like fleece or toweling, certainly give it a good clean after that. But you'll be amazed at the quality of your stitches when you clean the machine. Let's put the ankle back on again. And we'll change the needle, so let's drop this one off. If you're a little bit nervous about changing a needle, put a piece of fabric or paper underneath there so it doesn't drop inside the machine. And let's pop that to one side. Now if you're a complete beginner to sewing, I'm not sure that a £1,400 sewing machine is going to be the one that you start on. But if you are at that level, you can use this machine. It's so simple to use, it's self-explanatory, and it kind of looks after itself. It won't allow you to do something that's going to break a needle or that's going to damage it. So this is a machine that could last you a lifetime, seriously. But I'm thinking this machine is going to be the upgrade. For those of you that are really taking your sewing seriously, you want to do the dressmaking, you want to do homewares, you want to make curtains, you want to do a little bit of quilting, you want to do a lot of quilting, you want to make bags, you want to sew through heavier fabrics, you want to sew through canvases and maybe faux leathers or leathers and heavy weights of upholstery fabric maybe. This is a machine that's going to be able to service you and provide you with the quality and the strength that you need for those thicker fabrics. So if you've got an old machine at the moment, you're thinking, you know, I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to go for the next machine, I'm going to go for the top of the range sewing machine. Then this, I think, is the machine that you're going to be looking at. I bought mine because of speed. I actually found it, and I did buy my machine. I'm offered, but I don't take offers because I like to choose the manufacturers that I work with or the products that I use. So I bought my machine, and I phoned the local store up. And I said, what can you recommend that's fast and can sew through thick fabrics? Because I do a lot of bag making with thick fabrics. And he said the Janome 6600, which is the predecessor to this Elna sewing machine. And I love it. I've never looked back. It's got everything that I need. I mainly wanted speed and durability. I wasn't too fussed about all of the extra stitches, although I am working my way through them now. I do find them really useful. And then this came along. And my machine's very nice. It's not as nice as this one. And no, it's seriously, it's a beautiful machine. It's quiet, it's easy to use, and most of all, it's reliable. Right, twin needles. This is a regular twin needle, but I'm going to try it on stretch fabric. If you're going to be doing a lot of stretch fabric sewing, then please buy a ballpoint twin needle. The difference between a ballpoint needle and a stretch needle is that a stretch needle is meant for use with fabrics with elastane in them. So if you're doing sportswear and swimwear, that's a stretch needle you're going to need. It's got a slightly sharper point than a ballpoint needle. A ballpoint needle has a rounder edge to it. So these fabrics are knitted. If you use a sharp needle, it'll cut through one of the knitted rows and it could fray or it could ladder. So a rounded point on the needle will part the threads instead of cutting straight through them. But we'll have a go with a regular needle. So these have a flat back to them, and one shank. So very much like the needle that's already in your machine. Can we zoom in a bit closer? Oh yeah, there we go. So there's a flat back here. Yeah, there's two of us. We do everything here. I'm auto-focused today. And then the two needles at the back. So this goes into the machine in the same way that your regular needle does, and we're going to thread it up in the same way, but just use 2 threads. Do you know? I just heard I've got lovely nails. I'm a little bit worried because the nail parlour's closed down now. So there will be a day when I need help. And have you ever seen Death Becomes Her? Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep, they take a potion that enables them to live forever, but of course they start to fall to pieces, so they mend each other. And I think I'm going to be like that. So I'm going to have home done nails and mum fringe. And this is all getting a bit long as well, so I might have mum hair, or if I'm coming to work in a ponytail, you know, I've had the shears on my hair, if it's that long. I could shave it. I could do a number 1, couldn't I? Just shave it all off. I don't know. I wonder what we'll all look like in a few months' time. Oh, hi, Chili. Her first pandemic project. That is beautiful. She's made a. Let me zoom in a bit. Is that patchwork applique on a quilt? That is beautiful. Sewing machine. Oh, well done. Oh, and she's made a rainbow for the window as well. She loved doing it. Oh, keep rainbow pictures coming in. With the twin needle, you're not going to be able to use your needle threader, I'm afraid, so this may take me a while. So I've already got the 1 thread going through the machine in its regular way. I'm just going to trim the end of that off, make it easier to thread. If you wet the back of the needle, it helps to draw the thread through. I'm just going to put something white behind it so I can see it better. So that goes. Are you bearing with me at home? I'm not the best at threading needles without a threader. I've just threaded it and pulled it out again. A little bit of hairspray on the end apparently helps as well. There we go. And then your second thread is going to go in just the same way. So I'm popping that onto the second spool. Thread in exactly the same way as you have the first thread, so they're all running through all of the grooves side by side into both of those little levers. Again, in you go. And then thread this through the second needle. The machine will part those as it's sewing. So let's pop you in there without completely covering up what I'm doing. There we go. Right. So I shall sew a straight stitch for you first of all. So again, machine off and on again to default straight back to straight. I'll just do a long stitch so you can see it, and then go. Elaine wants to know how often you should change your needles. It is recommended, I've just got one comment done by the way. It is recommended that you change your needle after every 8 hours of sewing. Personally, I don't time myself. So again, it's a big project for me. So if I've made a dress or I've been sewing all day long, then I'll just change the needle. You know when your needle needs changing because you see bigger holes in your fabric, or you'll hear, and that's the bashing of a blunt needle going through your fabric. So if you don't remember to change your needle, your work will let you know that your needle needs changing. Okay, let me see. I didn't pull the thread through long enough, I don't think, for this one. You can get triple needles as well. Never used it, but I do have one. I shall show you in a second. That looks okay. Let me just down the cellar again. Just bear with me. There we go. I bought it, but never actually got around to using it. So that's it, look. But I'm not going to do this kind of live for you. There you go. So 3 little needles all together. I don't think you can buy quadruple needles, but yeah, I must have a go at that one day. But basically, you have your 2 threads at the top now, and 1 at the bottom. The thread at the bottom is going to do a zigzag between the 2 top threads. So I'll show you on here, and then I think you'll get the idea as to why this is useful for a stretch fabric. Oh, need to press the twin needle icon. Just so the machine knows that it's going to do twin needle stitching. With the twin needle, it's not recommended that you use the thread cutters. So that's the top. At the bottom, there's the bottom thread zigzagging between the 2, which gives you a stretch to your stitching. So perfect for stretch fabric. I do have a little bit that I've stitched out somewhere to show you some of the decorative stitches as well. You won't be able to sew every single decorative stitch, and this is important why you use the twin needle button, because that stitch there is the same as that stitch. So that's the stitch as it's chosen. When you use a twin needle, it's made it smaller. So the needle isn't going to go over the side of the foot and break itself. So that's a zigzag stitch. That's another one of the decorative stitches, and your straight stitch there. Oh, and just really quickly as well, look at all this. So you can program different stitches in there as well. I love that some of the decorative stitches on here. I'm not normally a fan of decorative stitches, but I love the mannequin and the scissors and the bobbin and the needle and thread. And I love the way that you've got whole words as well. So that stitch word is a stitch. Handmade is 1 stitch. And this is mirror imaging the stitches. So you can really have a good old play with them. And you've got hundreds to play with on this machine as well. So that's a little bit of twin needle. So twin needle for stretch fabric, definitely. Twin needle if you are playing with the decorative stitches, and do play with the decorative stitches because they tend to look very different when you stitch them out as they do than on kind of the little board that you saw there as well. So let's pop the regular needle back in again. In you go. Right, and we'll pop that back in again. There we go. So we'll take the green thread out. Now on Tuesday, we've got a new overlocker for you, an Elna, and that's going to be at, I think it's 10 o'clock. Got 3 hours planned for Tuesday. What are we doing? There we go. So I'm sure it's at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, but we are live for 3 hours, so have a look on the programme, or just have a look live if you're there. So if you've got any overlocker questions, let me know. If you want me to show you how to thread it, we shall thread from scratch, although with overlockers there's not normally any need to thread right from scratch, and the machines come to you threaded and you never need to do it again, but I'll explain that on the day. But if you wonder if you need an overlocker, why you'd want an overlocker, what the benefits of an overlocker, the tricks that you can do with an overlocker, because you can gather and you can create things like picot edges and lettuce edges and things like that. So we'll have a good old play with an overlocker on Tuesday. And it's an Elna, of course, again, so you've got the big brand name. There's a 2-year warranty with this machine, and that's a huge peace of mind. Elna are a British-based company. They're in Stockport near Manchester, and they're very nice people. So if you do have any questions, if you do have any problems, if you lose one of the feet and need a replacement, then give them a ring. They are very nice, understanding people. So you've got a peace of mind that you're investing in a reliable, solid, quick, comprehensive sewing machine. It's seriously such a pleasure to use this machine. My daughter's been using it while I've had it at home as well, and she's been sewing for about 6 months now. She does a lot of dressmaking. In fact, this week she's made pyjamas, 2 dresses, 3 dresses. Can't remember. She got quite carried away. But as a reasonably beginner sewer, just finds the machine. I did buttonholes for the first time yesterday. Finds the machine really simple to use as well. So don't be overwhelmed by it. Don't think, no, there's just too much going on and it's all computerised and I'm not going to understand it. It's a very simple machine to understand, but it does have an awful lot of features on it. It's absolutely feature packed. So if you want a machine that's going to last you for the rest of your life, I think you're looking at it right here. Have a look around price-wise. Now this machine's exclusive to us, so you won't be able to shop around and find this machine. So have a look at machines of this price point. This was on Sewing Quarter initially for £1,799. We then took the price down to a special offer of £1,499. So a £100 saving on that price is the lowest price that we've ever brought this to you for. So it's a great time to buy. But have a look around. Look for sewing machines valued at about £1,400. And then have a look how many stitches they've got, what their features are, how fast it goes, how many feet does it have, what kind of plate does it have. Does it have a needle up down function? It probably would do. Do you have the ability to use it without the foot pedal? Does it have a guarantee? Is it a big name that you're buying into? I bash on about it, but I always think it's really important to buy a sewing machine with a big brand name, a name that's been around for a long, long time. And that could be Toyota, it could be Brother, it could be Pfaff, it could be Husqvarna, it could be Janome, it could be Elna. These are brands that have been around for years, if not hundreds of years. So you know that you've got a reliability and a peace of mind and support from those companies as well. I think that's really, really important. You're spending a lot of money at the end of the day. So you do want a peace of mind. You know you need something that you can rely on. But if you, like me, have different members of your family that are at different stages of sewing, maybe you're the expert sewer. You do the quilting, you do the dressmaking, you do the curtains, you do the homewares, but you're teaching somebody in your house how to sew. Easy to learn how to sew on a machine like this. So it's something that you can share. You don't even have to reset everything for a beginner to use it. Maybe just slow the speed down a little bit as they're learning to sew. So if you've got any questions, we are here for the next 3/4 of an hour. So come through on the Facebook page if you've got any questions for me. We'll be back again with the machine on Tuesday. I think that'll be the 8 o'clock show. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. I'm sure I'm not supposed to say anything about that. I might have... Has there been an email? I might have missed the email. Said it now, haven't I? It's out there. Okay, let's take a look really quickly. There's rainbows and my panels. Now I've cut one of them up, so this is what they look like before you cut them up. So this is the spring version. Just move you out of the way a little bit. As in, if you had the panels, or you saw the panels that we brought you on day one here on Sewing Street, the very first day that we launched, we brought you 2 panels. Well, I brought you 2 panels because these are mine. And we sold out really, really quickly. Those are the samples that you see around the studio. This is the more pastel colour. I don't think it's going to last again. We are now down to single figures for both of the panels. So this is sewing machine. It's 140 by 62, so it's well over ½ a metre in length. And just really versatile. You've got these squares, which I'm imagining that you're just going to cut out, and you can make maybe a wall hanging for your sewing room. It could be cushion covers, it could be an apron, whether it's a full apron or a little half apron, or one of those money belt type aprons that you can keep all of your sewing bits and bobs in as you're working. It could be storage to go over the back of your chair. You can be making pin cushions out of them. You can make small projects, you can make large projects. That's entirely up to you. You're basically getting a whole sheet of fabric with sewing machines that are from my collection of sewing machines. So these are all very personal to me. I've got some of the machines in the studio today. So you're not going to be able to buy this anywhere else. I don't even have it on my website. You can't buy it from me. It's purely designed exclusively in the UK for Sewing Street. And with the sewing machines, there are 6 left. So the next 6 people to check out of their baskets on sewingstreet.com or order on 0800 001 4433 will get hold of yours. Now the second sheet is the one that I started cutting up, and I've only got the one. They're so new, honestly, I haven't seen them till I came in today. I've got an excuse not to be prepped for these. They are absolutely brand new. In fact, the whole sheets were only approved yesterday, so that's how quickly we've got them to you. I know. So this is the bobbins version. There are 9 of these left. So there's 8 of these left. So I shan't count down until they're gone. You get the idea. I know I've cut them up a little bit, but you can see the difference between the sewing machine. This has got sewing machines on it as well. So the two panels do coordinate together very well. And I think they're lovely soft colours too. So what are you going to make? What have you made already? Have you got any pictures for me? Because so many of you have got these panels already. Have you not made anything yet? Am I stocking up your stash? Or are you giving them as gift? Okay, that's probably going to be the last time we see those. So I'm so pleased you like them. Not sure if they're going to be back. They may be, they may not be, but it won't be for a while if we do. Got some new ones coming tomorrow. No, they're not like these. They're not photographs and they're not sewing machines from my collection, but they are my drawings. And they are my animals, not my personal animals. And it is Easter, after all. Now then, when is Easter? It's next week, I think, isn't it? Is it next week? 12th? 11 days to go. Plenty of time to get these home and make something. So how many of you have rainbows in your window? I have a 2-hour drive to work in the morning and, of course, a 2-hour drive home at night. And the number of windows that I drive past and see rainbows, and you know it works. We're putting rainbows in our windows wherever we can so that when people do walk past, or even when you wake up in the morning, you're going to see something that's happy and hopefully put a smile on your face. If you have rainbows in your window, if they are knitted or crocheted or painted, or the kids have made them, or you've sewn something, it would be lovely to see them. There's lots on the Sewing Street fans page, actually, we've been looking at. There's quilted ones on there, they look amazing. You don't have to have any talent, you don't need to be an expert sewer to partake, to just enjoy putting rainbows in your window and hopefully putting a smile on somebody's face today. So if you want some rainbow fabric, don't even have to sew it, I don't think, just hang it in your window. Fly the flag with it. And if you do, and particularly with our panel, we would like to see some pictures. But if you just need a whole load of fabric strips, they're 2 1/4 inches wide, so if you've got any of the jelly roll books and you need fabric to go alongside that, this is a very affordable way of buying into fabric strips. Because you're getting so many for a start. There's 16 strips there in total, all different colours, for only £14.99, which are slightly wider than the regular jelly roll strips that you'd buy in a roll, or if you're buying fabric strips as well. So they're really useful. So £14.99, there's your price there. HQW47. We're going to take a quick break. We shall be back again in around about 3 minutes' time. Keep messages coming through, keep your photos coming through and keep your questions coming in, but don't go away. We shall see you in about 3 minutes. Hello, morning, and welcome back again. We're still here live on Sewing Street. I'm still Debbie Shaw, and hopefully you're still with us. So in this part of the 2-hour extravaganza, we're going to be featuring some amazing Liberty fabrics. This is the Winbourne Collection, which is one of the newest ranges, but based on older ranges from Liberty, because they tend to go into their archives and kind of revamp and modernise existing prints. It has been an incredibly popular range, and we've got some exclusive bundles for you as well. So I'm just going to dive straight in there and show you what we have. This is a set of fat quarters. Initially, as you look at the range and you see all of the colours together, you'll see how they blend, how they match, how they coordinate perfectly. You could dive into any one of these 11 fat quarters, piece it together with the second one, and you know that they're going to match perfectly. You know, if I shuffle these like cards, any combination, any which way you put them, they're going to match absolutely beautifully. Now with the grey, or the neutral grey that we have here, this is the only way you're going to be able to get them. We're not doing by the half metre, you're not going to be able to buy vast amounts of the fabric, this is it. But this is also the only place that you can buy the complete collection of 11 fat quarters all in one go. So I'm going to show you really quickly what a fat quarter is. If you're new to us, I know we're getting lots of new viewers, and you're probably lots of new sewers that are wondering what on earth is a fat quarter. A quarter of a metre would normally be a long piece of fabric that's 25 centimetres wide, but if you take a metre of fabric and cut it into quarters this way, that is 4 fat quarters. So they, depending on the width of the roll or the bolt that they come from, fat quarters can vary in size, but on average they're 22 inches by 18 inches. So that's the size that you have. But look at the print and look at the name up there, Liberty. If you have any doubts whatsoever about buying fabric from a shopping channel, look at that name Liberty and you know jolly well that you have the highest quality of fabric. I don't need to tell you that, you just know by the name. So it's going to be soft, it's going to have a lovely handle, which is the way that it feels. It's going to have a beautiful drape. It's going to wash very well. It's going to wear really well. The colours aren't going to fade. It's not going to shrink. It's the kind of fabric that you can make heirloom pieces out of. If you're quilting, this could be a quilt that's passed down the generations. A quality fabric will have a fine thread, but lots of them. So if we were talking about denier of fabric, it's going to be a really high denier. So a lot of threads in both the cross, in the warp and the weft weaves. A very fine thread, very close together, gives you a dense fabric, but a lightweight fabric that has a lovely feel to it. So that's what makes a quality fabric. The second thing that makes a quality fabric is the quality of the print. Sometimes with cheaper fabrics you don't see the incredibly fine lines because the printers just aren't able to do that. But with these fabrics you've got the best of both worlds. So the quality of the fabric and the quality of the print. So in this set, let me show you, I'm going to show you all of them. I may be here for a while after we go off air folding them all back up again, but it's worth it because I really want you to see what you get for your money. So although I've only got 9 of these left, by the time I get to the end they're probably going to be gone. Although you've got traditional designs, they have been modern. I mean, when you look at this pale grey background with the beautiful blue flowers, that looks very modern, doesn't it? But again, these are based on traditional designs, traditional fabrics. Let me show you the next one while you're there. Isn't that beautiful? So they're inspired by the arts and crafts period, which is actually the late 1800s, early 1900s. I remember it well. It's when I first started sewing. And the Winbourne Collection is actually there is the Winbourne house, and all of these fabrics are inspired by the house, by its interior decor, and by the family that lived there as well. The colours I think are really subtle, they're really pretty, they're quite small. So if you're doing smaller projects or if you're doing a little bit of EPP, you're not going to lose the design when you're cutting into small fabrics. So I don't think that is a very traditional looking Liberty to me. That looks very modern. But this is the kind of thing that says Liberty to me. Isn't that beautiful? So is it called the Lemon Tree? But in a different colourway maybe. It's beautiful. Okay. Beautiful florals, soft hues, really delicate colours, pretty pastels. Greys are such a modern colour as well, aren't they? I know greys are as old as any other colour, but a very modern colour to use in fabrics. I haven't finished yet. There are 11 of these altogether. That's very traditional Liberty style, I think. And then there you go. That's the final one. The one with we thought was lemons is actually called Wood Haze. So there you go. Not many of these left. Oh, Elaine's had a question. Hi, Elaine. She says, what type of thread would you use on a Liberty print? It is recommended that you use a cotton thread when you're using cotton, that you use a polyester thread when you're using synthetics. So I would recommend that you're going to use a cotton thread. 50 weight is fine. That's probably going to be the most common size of thread that you're going to use. But whatever thread you're going to use a quality one. So go for a Gutermann, go for an Orifil, go for Metler, go for one of the, just the same as with your sewing machine, go for one of the big brands of names. Not that you get the peace of mind because they're expensive and you need the warranties and all that kind of thing. But when you've got a really quality fabric, don't let your thread let you down. So, I mean, there's no point in spending all of that money on a sewing machine, all of this money on fabric, and then your seams break because you're using a cheaper thread. So just a quality cotton thread. Gutermann do a sew-all thread, which is a cotton core, might be the other way around, with polyester core with cotton wrapped around it. That's going to be absolutely fine as well. But it doesn't matter so much, I think, the weight. It's more about the colour that you want to use and the quality that you're going to use as well. Right. Any more questions? Bring them on. Oh, I've got sewing surgery on Tuesday. We've had to change it, I'm afraid, because Neil wants to present on Monday, and he's the boss, so I had to change my days. That's my reasoning anyway. That's not quite true. So yeah, we're going to be on Tuesday at 10 o'clock for 1 hour. So if you go onto our Facebook page or the Facebook fans page and you've got any questions at all that you'd like to ask, the hour before is going to be the 7:20, the hour after is going to be the overlocker. So if you want to include any sewing machine or overlocker questions in surgery, then do let me know. But basically sewing surgery is me answering your questions. So it may be a new tool that you don't know how to use, a technique that you're not sure of, a phrase that you don't know what it means, maybe you want some jargon explaining, then just send me the questions. You can send them on my Facebook page, Debbie Shaw, S-H-O-R-E, or on the Sewing Course. Don't put them on that one, they'll never get answered. On the Sewing Street Facebook pages as well. Oh, 6 of the neutrals left. They're going very quickly. So let's move on to the teals. So I'm not going to open every one of them all the way, but we need to open up a little bit, don't we? So again, there are 11 of these in total. So we have the same prints, but just in a different colourway. Look at the delicacy of these prints. Isn't that beautiful? Well, there you go. So Wood Haze is this one. That's so pretty. What are we going to make with them? This is Bouquet. This one is Millefleur. There we go. That one is Latrice Poppy. I love poppies. Oh, sorry, Beatrice Poppy. It's a Beatrice Poppy. Oh, I might get some of that. And then the monochromes. And this one is Louisa May. That's a very modern look, isn't it? Primula Posy, that one's called. That's very William Morris, isn't it? And that one's called Bancar Fresco. I'm told. That's poppies again, look, the smaller version. Nina Poppy, that one. And we've got the smaller flowers, but really deep teal in the background there as well. That one's called Lawn. Bancar Silhouette. And then finally you've got your nettle fold. So all 11 of those for your £42.99. And then the final, so we've got these by the ½ metre as well, by the way. So if you think, well, I only wanted the poppies, I don't want anything else, or just want to go for 2, you don't have to go for the whole fat quarter bundle. We've got some ½ metre bundles and by the ½ metre as well. So if you ordered by the ½ metre, have a look on the website if you can't wait for me to go through all of these. But if you wanted a metre, buy 2 ½ metres and it'll come in 1 metre length, basically. Right. So this is probably going to be, when these go, the last time that we bring you the Winbourne Collection. No fault of our own, just that Liberty do tend to skip on to their next collection when one's sold out. If we can, we will, but just to warn you, there's probability that we won't. So this is the pink and jewel. Really rich colours, aren't they? So that's the bank al fresco. That's the wood haze. Primula posy. It's lovely. Oh, lovely fabric. That's Louisa May. We've got less than 15 of these now. Beatrice poppy. I love that one. I love the colour in the background, the grey. And that's called bouquet. This one is millflower tulip. And then we have, looks almost like a stencil, doesn't it? The watercolouring. Lois daisy. And then that was nettle something, I remember that one. Nettlefold. Nina poppies. And then finally, that's the lawn. So that's your jewel pink fat quarter collection, again for £42.99. But again, they are available by the ½ metre, or, oh, there's less than 8 of those now, they're going. Or you can buy these jumbo packs. And if you do go for the whole set together, it actually works out that you get ½ metre for free. Whenever do you hear that with Liberty Fabrics? You don't hear reduced prices, you don't hear sales, and you certainly don't hear free. But you're getting ½ metre in effect for free when you order the complete bundle. So we've got 2 sets for you. You can either go for the pink, or you can go for the teal, or you can go for the 2 together, or any individual items, because these are available on their own as well. So this is the pink mega bundle. So in here, I shan't open them all. I think we've seen them all open, haven't we now? So we don't have to worry about spending ½ an hour refolding before we're allowed home. So look how this actually looks stenciled, doesn't it? Or even stamped onto the fabric. It's a really unusual kind of look, but it gives lots and lots of shading. And yeah, it does look like a stamp. It's really cleverly done, or a stencil on there. So it's very, very pretty. And then Lois Days. Sorry, that one's Lois Daisy. This one's Bank al Fresco. Then we've got the Beatrice Poppy, the Wood Haze. That's pretty. Louisa May. That was the Millflower Tulip, Nettlefold, Bouquet, Lawn, and then this is the Primula Posy and Nina Poppy. So altogether you've got 5.5 metres, but in effect you're only paying for 5. And that's £74.90. I'll just really quickly open one up to show you the size of these as well. So you've got the full width of the fabric, in effect 2 fat quarters together, but that's how much you're getting in ½ metre. That could easily make a couple of cushion covers. It could be a little apron. If you're going to go by the metre, that would make a very nice little blouse, a springtime blouse. Are you making your summer wardrobe while you're at home? I think that's what my daughter's doing at the moment. So if you're thinking about not going on holiday, but maybe you've got a garden or a balcony you can step out onto, we could have little strapless dresses. You could make little girls' dresses with shirring around the top. Really little simple summer outfits. So So you're going to be all ready for when you can go back outside again. You're going to be the best dressed. Yeah, maybe a while. So that's the pink collection. This is the teal. So this again is a mega bundle, so 5.5 metres, but you're only paying for 5, so you have half a metre free included. And in here we have bouquet. And this one is the Bangkok silhouette, then Beatrice poppy, and oh gosh, what was that one called? Well, the Louisa May, sorry. Wood haze. That's the Millefleur tulip, nettle fold, Nina poppy, lawn, primula posy, and finally the Bangkok fresco. But they are all available individually. So what would I put together? I love the rich colours. So this is the bouquet in the teal. And I think these are, although based on traditional prints from Liberty, I think that is a very kind of the moment kind of print. Really rich colours, but fresh springtime flowers as well. And if I was going to go for this one, I think I'd go for something quite pale and neutral to complement it. So I may go for those two together. If you're quilting, you're probably going to want odd numbers though, aren't you? So I'd do that if I'm making a bag maybe. I wouldn't use this as a lining because I think it's a bit of a waste, but I could do a contrast with a flap or something on that one. But if you're quilting, you're probably going to go in 3s. So a very dense, a very pale, and then maybe that one. But there again, this one really stands out, doesn't it? So maybe it stands out a little too much and we just need something a little bit more subtle in there. That's a bit too subtle, so let's go for this one. Now I think that works, although you've got the same kind of print, they look very different, these two, when you have different colourways. So this has got lots of colour, this one's a monochrome, and I think that both of those really set off the bouquet as well. So this is the Bangkok fresco in teal. And then this one, if you wanted to go for all 3 together, you don't have to go for my choice, but I think they work really well together. If you're not going to go for the complete bundle, it's going to be quite difficult at home, I think, to match them together like this. I'm hoping I'm doing a little bit of a service for you. It's like being a personal shopper, isn't it? And then you've got the lawn there in teal there as well. So that's your Bangkok silhouette in teal. That's the top one there, that's the teal version. And remember, it's $3.95 all day, so if you ordered 1 or 2 of these and then you come back later on and you think, you know, probably not going to see these fabrics again once they've gone, I'm just going to stock up. So, and you've still got the $3.95 postage that will continue all day long until midnight tonight. You can just keep adding as much as you like. So this is the Bangkok fresco. Is that the same details? That's the teal, isn't it? Yeah. What's that one then? Oh, I'm sorry, that's Bangkok silhouette. This is the Bangkok fresco. And then finally, you've got your bouquet in teal as well. At £7.49. Everything's on the website, so if you want to have a go at mixing and matching yourself, just have a look on the website. I know you can't physically do that, but you'll be able to see all of the different fabrics that we have available for you and have a look yourself. Now the teal fresco, which is that one, we've only got 4 metres of this left outside the bundle. So if you wanted to order all of that, you need to order 8 pieces and they'll come to you all in one long 4 metre roll. And it's just £7.49 for half a metre. So I think you've got a very competitive price and you've got a really beautiful quality fabric. The Liberty fabrics they're quite collector's pieces, aren't they, when you think about it? I think anything that you, no matter what kind of product it is, if you buy it and then it's not made anymore, or you move on to the next collection, these kind of become so precious because you're not going to see them again. One day Liberty will come back to them, I'm sure, but you won't see the same colourway. You might see the prints being modernised slightly or changed slightly. So it really is a unique opportunity to be able to invest in something that is it's actually quite rare when you think about it. So, shall we have a mix and match and a play with the pink option while we're here as well? Just fold those up. So if you wanted to go for the whole bundle, remember you're getting half a metre for free. There's 5.5 metres in total, but you're only paying for 5 for £74.90. So that's the complete collection again. But if you did want to go for, let's have a play with those ones. So I'm going to pick my favourite because I can. Let's go with the Beatrice Poppy. I love seeing the poppy fields. We've got quite a few poppy fields near where we live. And it's just when you just drive past and you see this whole sea of bright red. They're so beautiful. And then they just pop up on the roadside. And both of my sons are colourblind and they can't see them, which I think is such a shame. They're my favourite thing. So Beatrice Poppy, and then maybe, I think the lawn goes quite well. We're looking at some very rich colours here. But I think those two go beautifully together. They really complement each other. I wouldn't do that. I think that's just too stark. But I might that's it. That's the one. I think they go so well together. And as a collection, as I was saying earlier with panels, the colours have been put together for you. So you know if you go from anything from this collection, the pink collection, the pinks are going to match beautifully. That really dark, inky blue in the background is going to match perfectly. And again, you can throw together any of these that you like in any order that you like. And you just know that they've been made to go together. So, the Millflower tulips, by the way, we have a limited stock of this one if you wanted to order by the metre. That I'm thinking is very pretty for summer clothes, for little girls' dresses, for special occasions, for party dresses, for when we're allowed to. Let's start now. It's very delicate. It's got that tiny little print on it as well. I was saying earlier, the finer the print, normally the more expensive the fabric, because that really shows the quality of the print. Look at that outline, the tiny little dots. You can see actually there when you're so close up, the close weave and the fineness of the fabric as well. You know how that's going to feel when you get it home. It's so beautiful. So again, if you wanted to order by the metre for that one, it's going rather quickly. Oh, hi Lindsay. Love watching all the live sewing shows on your channel. I've started to make a dress. Oh, that was beautiful. Congratulations. Want to see pictures when you finished it as well, Lindsay. So that's my little collection. If I was going to go for 3, I think I'd go for those together. Oh, the mega bundle's really busy for that one, by the way. Let me give the details of my 3 favourite ones here, though. So this is the one that looks like the little fruit trees. The blossoms on the trees now as well, isn't it? If you're looking out of the window and you can see cherries, the cherry blossom, I just think it's so pretty. So this is the Wood Haze. Again, it's £7.49. You can order as many of those as you like and they'll all come joined up in one piece together. That's MRYV01. This one is the Lawn. Now it's a very, very, very dark blue, almost black, but it's a really kind of inky indigo blue. And the flowers are so pretty. Again, they look watercoloured or stamped, don't they? They're really shaded and delicate little buds here. It's beautiful, it's so pretty. That's FVYV01 at £7.49 again for half a metre. And then finally there is Beatrice Poppy. Really pretty, very detailed. And very springtime, although you've got the darker, rich colours, the flowers I think make it very springtime. So that's OYY V91, again at £7.49. You could add though, the traditional kind of William Morris style goes very well with that as well. So if you're going for 5s, then maybe with the little poppy. Do you know, with a collection, have a look on the website. You could almost close your eyes and put a pin in the screen. Don't do that. But you'll know that all of the prints go together just so well. It's such a lovely collection. And it's such beautiful fabric to work with, particularly if you're hand sewing. You know, it's nice to have a really quality fabric when it's running through your fingers. Gosh, a whole quilt, whether it's English paper pieced or machine pieced, would just be amazing. If you are English paper piecing a whole quilt though, why not have the best? That's going to take you weeks, if not months, to create. So if that's something that you're starting on at the moment, or you're thinking about starting, why not go for the best fabric that you possibly can? So this is the complete collection. So all of those fabrics together. This is the pink collection. Look, there's lots of them. 5.5 meters altogether. And it works out that 1/2 meter of that is absolutely free. Lovely. So that's your mega bundle in the pink. The mega bundle in the teal has been absolutely flying. What are you going to make? Are you quilting? Are you dressmaking? Is it going to be for homewares? Are you making gifts? Are you making things to sell? Maybe you're going to raise a bit of money for charity or to fill up your own stash. Is this going to be a new career for you now you're at home? You think, right, I'm going to get sewing, and when I can get out again, I'm going to have a stall full of goodies for people to buy on my craft fair. So there we go. But use it. You know, there's so many of us, particularly with special fabrics, you get it home and you stroke it and you put it back in the box and then you get it out again and you don't want to put a pair of scissors to it. Meant to be used. Remember, we've got the fat quarter bundles for you as well. If it's the natural one that you wanted to go for, one lucky lady or gentleman will receive it, because that's all we have left of this one now, just the one. Gosh, so in here there's 11 fat quarters. I'm not going to flick all the way through them because by the time I get halfway it's probably going to be gone anyway. But that's the grey variety. So if you haven't seen it previously, have a look on the website on sewingstreet.com. So that's that one. That's my job for after. We have the teal, 1/2 meter bundle. We've got the whole lot in fat quarters in a set of 11 if you wanted them. Or you could go for a bundle of the 1/2 meters, in which case you're going to get 1/2 meter for free. Free Liberty fabric. I know, does Liberty know we're doing this? So all of these all together for £74.90. But if you were to make a quilt out of all of these, it would be huge. You could easily make a super king size quilt with all of these, in which case your £74.90 doesn't seem quite as much, does it, when you imagine what you can do with that? So that's the whole bundle, the £74.90. This is the pink bundle. I'm just going to see if we match. So let's take a look at, where's the bouquet? The bouquet this time's in the grey. So those two actually do work really nicely together. The poppies, the Beatrice poppy, that's the teal, and there's the pink. Those complement each other very well. You've got the same colour in the background, so that makes them work. And then that's the one that we said looked a little bit William Morris in the teal. And then the Bangkok fresco, but in the pink it's a very deep colour. So again, if you ignore the bundle, if you wanted to go for 2 bundles, oh gosh, what size of quilt are you going to make? But if you're ordering these individually, you could go for one from each collection and you can see that they're going to match. So there's your little tulips in the teal and in the pink. Millflower tulips in the pink individually, that's this one. We've only got 4 meters left in total. This is your primula, and in the pink. They would go together very well. That one and oh, now then, what would we have with that one? Let's move that. Let's do that one. Because they do have a couple of different prints, and that was one of them. Those two would go together very well. The lawn will go together very well. Kinda? Maybe not. No, not those ones. I wouldn't do that. Then there's the little poppies. And then you have the nettle folds. Those would work together. And then your trees. Your wood haze, they'd work. And then these are the two that are a little bit different. But you know, they still kind of work, don't they? So this is the complete teal collection. This one is the complete pink collection. It may be a little bit extravagant, but if you went for the two, you have got a lot of fabric that mix and match together really well. Oh, now then, if you're ordering anything out of the bundles, so if you're ordering any of these individually, or you want to order any of those individually, we have less than 10 meters of every single one of those left. So that's less than 20 units. Some of them are a lot less than that as well. Remember, you're ordering by the half meter. But if you do want to make a pair of curtains, if you do want to do a little bit of dressmaking, then if you order by the half metre, you're going to get them in a continuous strip. So if you wanted to go for that 10 metres, you need to order 20 units. And that's not a lot of fabric if you're doing homewares. If you're decorating the dining room and you want to make a tablecloth and placemats, or maybe be using this as a border around a plain of fabric for tablecloths would be really good, because then you're not using so much of your Liberty fabrics. If you're making matching cushion covers, if you're spending time in the conservatory, maybe that would be a way of uplifting and brightening that a little bit, making the area that you're spending most of your time in at the moment a little bit happier and a little bit more uplifting. If you're new to sewing, oh, what a treat for you to be able to make your first projects with some of the highest quality of fabrics that's available on the market. How's about that? Get you. Right, I'm going to be back again tomorrow from 9 o'clock in the morning with Sashko and a remote guest. So we're not having guests in the studio at the moment for safety reasons, but we do have some pre-recorded guests coming up for you as well. So that's going to be at 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, we've got some brand new Easter panels. And we're talking, I think they're quite funny actually, if I say so myself. We've got little characters on them with chickens and rabbits and lambs, but they're quite characters. So that's my designer panels coming up for you tomorrow, so I'll hopefully give you some lots of inspiration there. Let me give you a reminder of our early bird for you. So this is our special offer of the day, a reduced priced item. We try and bring you one every day, and this is today's. It's an Alpha A3 cutting mat with inches on one side and centimetres on the opposite side, with your 45-degree angles to cut your bias binding, and then you've got 30 and 90-degree angles as well. So it's only £7.99. That's a saving of £5 off the usual price, and it's Alpha. I like Alpha. I use Alpha mats, I use Alpha rotary cutters, and I use Alpha rulers. I like the quality of them. This is self-healing, so when you cut into it, it automatically heals itself. We've actually got a lint brush coming up on Tuesday in the surgery, which is going to help you clean your mats as well. So really useful, nice size and really great quality. And it's blue, so it's nice because it's a little bit different. So I'm going to see you again tomorrow. Keep your questions coming in for surgery, which is now going to be on Tuesday, remember, at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you do have anything that you want demonstrating, we're going to be launching a new overlocker for you as well. And we've got lots of new things coming up. We'll have more on that Elna 720 sewing machine. You can order after the end of the hour. Check out our website, sewingstreet.com. I'll see you tomorrow.